We don't do a ton of reviews on remasters at Level 30 Games, and with the winter lull in the 2020 gaming season, I thought it might be a perfect opportunity to check out one of the many games in my backlog. While this game may be remastered, my playtime with it is brand new, as the Assassin's Creed series is traditionally one I've sat on the sidelines for. So here is my take on Black Flag for the Nintendo Switch. If you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe to Level 30 Games, the channel for adult takes on all things video game related, and if you're back, thanks for being part of the Level 30 fam. The itch to try this game came in several waves. With its gigantic open world, beautiful locales, and tease of being able to play as a pirate to command the seas and plunder, I thought this was the perfect time to jump into the series. Fans will tell you that it's one of the better entries, and while I have nothing to compare it to, I have very much been enjoying my time so far. You play as Edward Kennedy, a privateer turned pirate who finds himself among some shady people trying to track down a place called the Observatory, a device that can be used to monitor anybody in the world. While this technology seems far-fetched given the time period of the game, it's also technically true that you are playing as somebody in the modern era, playing as Edward Kennedy. The Assassin's Creed games had a running storyline through the first 5 games that has you playing as somebody named Desmond Miles, who, through the technology created by a company called Abstergo Industries, was able to access his ancestors through his DNA using a machine called the Animus. Holy hell, that's convoluted, and while I only played a bit of the original game in the series on the Xbox 360 back when it came out in 2007, I can only gather through some quick research that this was a setup done to rationalize the gameplay setting and allow for a redo when a player failed a mission. Given this was back when games were trying to be more than games, I guess this needed to be explained. However, today it matters not, because I have my own pirate ship, I can parkour from building rooftops and kill whomever I like while singing sea shanties with my pirate pals. What I'm trying to say is the plot is effective in moving the story forward, but over time hardly becomes the focus as the breadth of things to do become the main source of my entertainment with the game. What I like about this is that there are tons of optional things littering the map you can go after or choose not to. There are chests to find, animus fragments, and additional sea shanties to track down, not to mention rival ships to fight, animals to hunt, and treasures to track down using obscure maps found in bottles washed up on shore. On land, you can also chase merchants and take on private assassin missions. Needless to say, you'll be busy if you want to be. On land, missions usually revolve around the same premise of sneaking into an area while trying not to be discovered, allowing you to silently kill guards and snipers at your will, or you may be tasked with following a person at a distance to eavesdrop on what they are talking about. These were my least favorite missions, as they went on for far too long and really slowed the pace down. You can go from jumping rooftop to rooftop in a thrilling chase sequence one moment to just barely leaning on your joystick to walk super slow another. The mission variety is not the game's biggest strength, but thankfully, everything is super fun to play. Controls are relatively tight. I had some frustrating moments in the heat of the chase from time to time because your character wants to climb up on everything. This can lead to some frustrating moments as well as elongating getting to your destination. I failed a few chase these guys missions because Edward decided to climb and perch upon a rooftop chimney instead of, just running around it. Combat is simple, with attacks and parries being the primary means of slaughtering. Guns come into play too, which is nice, and there are upgrades for everything, including your ship. Time at sea was the most fun and made the small frustrations in town drift to the back of my mind. The ocean is huge, and there are tons of spots to check out and go to. Sadly, the types of things to do there, like hunt for treasure or specific animals, get tiresome after a while, and so I found myself skipping some of the small deviations to divert my attention towards the meatier elements of the story and side quests. The most fun I had with Sails Up was attacking other ships, then boarding them for some bloody murder, all while pillaging their goods. Visually, the game looks and runs great on Switch, with some moments at sea or perched on a church chapel overlooking the city at sundown, where I forgot that this was a remaster of an older title. The character animations, while excellent, tend to clash with the character models that don't look as good and act as a constant reminder that this game is showing its age. Voice acting was great, and the music was fine, if not forgettable. The Level 30 gamer has a ton to decide upon, however. If you are looking for a fun, story-focused run through the game, then it's a pretty good value and well worth your time. Also, if you are looking to get lost in a world of pirates, take your time exploring the huge open world and scour every inch of that world for collectibles. The game more than holds its own, even as a port, and for $40 is a tremendous amount of game to dollar ratio. This review doesn't even touch upon the second game included, Assassin's Creed Rogue, as there is only so much time in this level 30 gamer's day. With a game that has so much to do, some of the monotony can be a little tiresome, which is one knock I will have against the game, that eventually it got to a point where I was driving through the story missions to wrap up some of the loose ends to complete it, where I then would spend some of my free time going around the sea and doing some of the smaller quests in smaller chunks. I found that a much more enjoyable way to play. Your time may vary. Well, that will do it for my take on Assassin's Creed Black Flag for the Nintendo Switch. I am so sorry I didn't even have time to get into Rogue, but I guess I'll save that for another day. Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune into our Let's Plays, podcasts, reviews, and more right here on Level 30 Games, and I'll see you in the next level.